Welcome to Main Street Preps Clarksville, your local Clarksville sports show. My name is Brady McAtamney. The show, as always, is brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. Looking forward to bringing you a show today as we get geared up for district tournaments, weather pending, of course, as the forecast is not so hot, but we're looking forward to getting things in when they get in, starting today. We're going to start off with someone who has been around these district tournaments a couple times and getting ready for another possible run this year. We bring in Brian Hetland, head coach of the Clarksville High Wildcats. Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing okay. Just like you said, the forecast is not favorable, but we're gonna get today in and then go from there.
Yeah, I mean, have you guys, looked ahead at all and seen maybe this is how the pieces fall? This is a day that we look to get things in. How is that gonna maybe work out?
Yeah, well, there's a couple things on that front. We do have the okay to play on Sunday afternoon if Friday doesn't get in. We have Saturday games slated for right now at 11 and 1:30, but they could be moved a little bit depending on what it does tomorrow and into the Saturday morning. It looks like there's a break midday on Saturday, and it looks, at this time like there's a favorable timetable. The key is we've got to be able to get both games in on the day that they are, or we don't play. And you can't get ahead. One team get a favorable advantage by playing, let's just say today, and the other game didn't get in tonight. Now that game goes to tomorrow. That's with pitching rest and everything in baseball. You lose the advantage for that second game big time. So we're trying to weigh everything out and make good decisions based on the best available forecast for how things are going to go. Tomorrow was somewhat promising yesterday that it was going to get out and be okay Friday evening, but now it's not looking that way at all. So we're just going to have to see how things go.
Yeah, it's definitely a sticky situation so far. Definitely going to have to see how all the pieces fall and see if you can pick them up, put them all together like a puzzle. But the good news is for you guys, you get to host this district tournament. Was at Rossview last year after hosting 2 years ago. Just what's the advantage of having this the tournament at your own field?
Well, we just played better at our place, so that's an advantage, number one. Number two, the park is more conducive to our style of play. We're a pitching and defense team. Our park plays larger than, for example, Rossview or any of the other parks in town, quite honestly. And it's in plush shape. It's in great shape, so it plays well for infielders. And our infield defense has been great all year. Our pitching's been good all year, so it suits us playing at home, and it's a familiar place. And so those are the positives. The negatives are tarp on, tarp off, and all the extra work that goes into hosting an event like this and trying to make it work, and all the different conversations you got to have with so many different people. That's why we got on the forefront of possibly having to play Sunday afternoon, it's not favorable for us because we have prom this weekend. So we have other unfortunate circumstances or fortunate circumstances, however you want to look at it, to look at when we're trying to do this thing. And normally we don't play on prom, but our prom got moved a week because the venue wasn't there, and it's usually in late April. So unfortunately we're dealing with that with our guys too. So, we'll play the first game of the day that day. If it works out that we don't play Friday, then we'll play the first game of the day on Saturday and allow them to get out and get to prom and hopefully get home at a reasonable hour so they can be ready to play Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you bet. It's going to be an interesting situation for sure, but let's look at your team in general. You guys had kind of a down season for Clarksville High standards last year. This year, not so much. Big bounce back. You brought back a lot of guys. Tell me about some of the growth that you've seen from the team from last year to this year.
Yeah, I mean, defensively, we've grown a ton. We have the same third baseman, shortstop back, and our first baseman was hurt last year, and he's back. And, we have a really good senior catcher, and we added an outstanding sophomore catcher to the mix. So, defensive wise, I knew we would be better. I just didn't know we'd be as good as we've been. In high school, when you field close to 960 all year, that's really an incredible stat. A lot of colleges don't field 960. And so I knew we'd be better there. I did not think we would pitch like we have. I'm really shocked at how we pitched. Quite honestly, we only had Chip Harris, Lane Welch back, and Hank Miner a little bit that threw any significant innings varsity wise last year. So the majority of our guys were JV pitchers last year that are getting the bulk of the innings now. And, and they've stepped up and they've done a very good job. And hitting wise, we've grown a little bit. We're not where I'd like to be, but we're much better than we were last year. And that comes with experience. You got to get that time on the field. And we played a lot of sophomores last year. So, we had one senior position player on the field last year. So, a lot of those guys are back and playing and learning and getting better. And, so we're hopeful that we can continue to get better down the stretch here. We've not played as well as I'd like the last week or so, but it's hard to match what we did throughout the year. It's hard to keep up that pace.
Definitely. You mentioned that pitching, Chip Harris, co-pitcher of the year in the district. Guy like Porter Murph, just a freshman, is someone who looks like he could be dominant in college, or rather high school, for the next 4 years. But you also added a couple bats in the lineup, and gloves, of course, with Corbin Reynolds and Davin Geringer, two guys who have been really huge for the team. What's been kind of the spark plug that those two have added?
Well, we get some power and some double potential from both those guys, but Davin being back from football, he's had his ups and downs throughout the year just because he missed the whole season, and he's just trying to work and recoup that time lost, and it's hard to do. So you have some peaks and valleys, and you got to get through some mental stuff with that, and he's doing a good job. He's playing a good left field for us, and he's swinging the bat somewhere in the 5 to 7 slot in our lineup all year, and has done a good job there, and has hit the ball well. And then Corbin Reynolds has been a stellar defensive performer. I mean, he might be one of the top defensive catchers in the state, and that's been told to me by several guys and several different coaches. So he's really solidified us there, and he's been our top hitter to this date. Him and Leighton Trice have been going kind of back and forth, being offensive leaders all year, and both those guys are good defensive catchers and have been right in the middle of the lineup, hitting 3-4 all year, and so that's been big. Adding those two guys to the lineup that we already had, adding to Leighton and Brooks and Frost and Kirk Weatherford and some of the guys that played a lot last year. Default's been huge. Default played outfield, played some infield, and he's been a real catalyst for us in the leadoff spot. When he plays well, we do well, and he's played well most of the time, obviously.
No doubt. Last time we talked, we you talked about the state of baseball in Clarksville right now, with 3 just really, really good baseball teams in the area right now, and that's not to mention other programs in the area who have quality ball clubs. I just want to give you this chance, just kind of talk to the people about baseball in the city right now, baseball in Clarksville, and why it's worth supporting.
Yeah, it's it's been a testament to good work ethic and players and coaches working extremely hard to upgrade their facilities, upgrade their programs, and work hard through the off-season months when they're not getting paid and kids aren't totally invested in their spring season when they're in the fall and winter, and when they're not in another sport, they're with those programs, and those programs are all working very hard, and other programs are too around here. And Northeast has got a good team. They haven't played maybe up to what they thought they would do at times, but they lost 4-1 to Clarksville Academy, about a week ago, and I know they had a real tight game with Rossview, one of them, and ended up being like a 10-6 or 10-7 game in one of the games with Rossview. So they've got a formidable team too. But from the standpoint of the 3 that have so-called been ranked this year and have had had big seasons. The Academy, Rossview, and Clarksville High. It's in my time here, I haven't seen three of us have the kind of records and the kind of opponents played against that we've had at one time. All those programs have been really, really good for years, but not three together like that having elite seasons to this point. And there's still, a lot of time left now. It's put up or shut up now, and you got to play, and everyone's gunning for you, and you just gotta keep doing what you've done to this point, and the kids got to understand that they got to just go play. But it is a testament from regular season standpoint. I haven't seen three teams in Clarksville to this stature in my time here anyway.
Absolutely. It is a good time to be a baseball fan in Clarksville. Three teams who maybe we see get to Murfreesboro, get to Spring Fling this year. But in the meantime, we got to avoid the rain, get some baseball in, and hopefully see some winning out of these teams. Brian, thank you so much for joining me today. It's always a pleasure, and I will see you in a couple hours.
All right, man. Appreciate it. Take care.
You too. Thanks again to Brian Hetland for coming on, head coach of the Clarksville High baseball team. The Wildcats kick off the District 13 3A. I always want to say 4A because of basketball. 3A tournament in just a couple hours here, beginning at 4:30 against West Creek. So look forward to that. We're going to have coverage on that, of course, on my Twitter at Brady_MSP up there in the there you go. Right up there in the top right corner. And, of course, at mainstreetpreps.com, mainstreetclarksville.com. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we are going to get going with, of course, some players of the week, some games of the week, and maybe get some track and field results in there.
Hockey in Music City just hits different. It's one big honky-tonk party. It's the sea of gold in the crowd, the goals, the saves, the celebrations. It's an experience like no other. Experience Predators hockey all season long. Visit NashvillePredators.com/season tickets and join the Loyal Legion today. That's NashvillePredators.com/tickets, and we'll see you at Bridgestone Arena.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
It's just a few cocktails at happy hour.
You really good try.
There aren't any cops around.
I didn't think there were any cops around.
I drink and drive all the time.
Sir, you've been in a serious crash. I need you to hang on, okay? Cover your hands, sir.
This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee sports editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
Other guy in Wham married the best looking girl, Bananarama, so other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
I'm so excited about this new show.
Dino Trek is back again this year. It's bigger than we've ever had it before.
When they're about 5 months old, we'll start to see them sticking their head out of the pouch, or you might see a foot come out or a tail.
It's like an Airbnb for Joey's. Now, you're not going to see all 3 of them together because cats in general don't get along unless it's time to get along, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Lions and Tigers and Bears.
Oh, my.
Well, we're 2/3 of the way there. It's animals, nature, and fun. That's what we're all about. But during that time, we hope that you also learn something, that you're inspired to want to learn something.
What's new at the zoo with Jim Bar 2.
Welcome back to MSP Clarksville. I'm your host, Brady McAtamney. The show, as always, is brought to you by the Tennessee Highway Safety Office, where fans don't let fans drive drunk. Let's get into some semantics here. I don't know if the semantics is exactly the word I was going for, but you know what I mean. Some players of the week. On the baseball side, we're going with a major power threat here with Rossview's Scotty Dean, a college catching prospect who hit 2 home runs, 6 RBIs in their win against Portland last week. I believe that was on Friday. Scotty Dean, I don't have his full season numbers, but this is a guy who has major power threat. I believe, I don't have the numbers for this, but I would guess he's the leading home run hitter in the county. This is a dude that just hits the crap out of the ball. I've seen him hit a couple big, long home runs so far this season. This is a guy who will hit the ball out of the park. He's a scary guy for anyone to go up against, any pitcher to go up against, and he's going to be a huge X factor for Rossview here in the district tournament and, of course, going to the region tournament. On softball, this is someone that I've had as my player of the week a couple times so far this year. It's Peyton Harris for Montgomery Central. The Montgomery Central pitcher against Portland threw a complete game shutout, I believe only 2 hits with 10 strikeouts. So just a huge performance against Portland. I mean, you can't really ask for a better pitching performance than that. 0 runs, 10 Ks, overall highly, highly deserving. Now let's get into some track and field. How about that? First time talking about that on the show this week. I got a whole laundry list of names here for you. I'm going to go on the athletes who qualified for the sub-region meet, which is this week at Green Hill. For the boys, we have 100-meter dash, Zachariah Taylor, Jamarcus Watkins, Gavin Hunter, Takase Dukes, Matthias Harris, DeMarcus Andrews, Skylar Joseph, Justin Knight, Chase Robinson, Caleb Crum. 200-meter, Keontae Scholl, Jamarcus Watkins, Tristan Doss, Gavin Hunter, Javante Grover, Damian Garland, Xavier Estrada, Jayshawn Williams. 400-meter, Maurice Moore, Royce Mentzer, Michael Parker, Jarian Basden, Mateo Cerdas Gatto, Demarius Graham, Tristan Doss, Marco Ryder, Edric Jones, Tavion Claiborne, Troy Jackson. 800-meter, Hayden Waleski, Ryder Schwass, Isaac Perkins, Jaden Riley, Antonio Caldwell, Braylon Bender, Aiden Batters, Cyrus Sanders, and Julian Sanders. Moving to the girls for these events, we have Caitlin McLeod, Taya Goodman, Elijah Nicole, Micaiah Bigby, Mariah Montgomery, Michaela Francis, Desiree Brown, Korea Manning, Nehemiah Johnson, Emery Gerlach, Jess Bearfield, Journey Hicks, Dejanay Bailey, Kayla Taylor. On the 200-meter, Caitlin McLeod, Elijah Nicole, Mariah Montgomery, Tajaya Goodman, Tanaya Reiser, Symphony Brown, Coy Manning, Jess Bearfield, and Natalie Winters. For the 400-meter, Shania Davis, Hadea Gonzalez, Nayla Chapman, Deona Naismith. For the 800-meter, Brooke Waleski, Casey Rosenkratz, Meg Lewis, Haley Rowland, Tacey Boring, Tianja Hines. So if I were going to read every name here that's qualified, that would take probably the entire show. I mean, the whole 30 minutes, maybe more. So if you want to see everyone who qualified, go to mainstreetpreps.com, mainstreetclarksville.com. Look for results from the 2023 Montgomery County Track and Field Championships. You will find all the names there. It took me a while to compile because there are just so many great athletes in this area. How's that for a plug for you guys? Now, games of the week. Let's get into some of the district matchups here. So we have on the District 13 4A side, Rossview will face Northeast at Clarksville High, and Clarksville High will face West Creek, as we just talked to with Brian Hetland. District 14, so the other side of this region, we have Northwest versus Henry County, Kenwood versus Dixon County. For Clarksville Academy, they have already played a good bit of their postseason games, winning all but one, which was the district championship against Goodpasture. They will now face Middle Tennessee Christian. That was originally supposed to be tomorrow, but it's going to be today because they're trying to avoid that threat of rain. And additionally, Montgomery Central, they're going to play Creekwood in an elimination game today. So teams' seasons are kind of coming in the balance here. Next time we talk, a couple of these teams will already have their seasons, and of course, we'll talk about that when we get there. But hopefully, it's not your favorite team whose season ends. Same deal with softball. We have Clarksville High versus West Creek, Rossview versus Springfield. That's a district, that's of course District 13 3A as well. That's a district that Brian Rush, head coach of Clarksville High, says you kind of have to fit 3 teams into 2 spots, talking about Clarksville High, Rossview, and Springfield. 3 really, really good softball teams who, you can only get 2 of them into the district championship and then eventually the region championship. Of course, on the other side of the region, you have Kenwood versus Henry County and Northwest versus Dixon County. But, those 3 teams, Clarksville High, Springfield, and Rossview, definitely going to be the favorites over there because, like I said, just very, very talented teams. Clarksville High, of course, was the state runner-up last year. Graduated 3 players, including their starting pitcher, Emberly Nichols, who is now at Austin P, doing well over there. But they return a lot of really talented players. Of course, their whole coaching staff, they know what it's like to win in the postseason. Rossview is a team that's very much on the up and up. They hit the ball well. Madison Ratcliffe, a sophomore, very, very good pitcher. Some big hitters. They play solid defense. And Springfield is a team that was also in the state tournament last year. They also lost their top pitcher in Briaz Mundy, who is now at Trevecca. But, I mean, that's still a very, very good team. They return good players as well as CHS. So that's going to be an absolutely thrilling watch to see which of those teams can kind of navigate their way into that district tournament or rather district championship and then into the region championship, sub-state, and possibly forward from there. We're going to see. Like I said, on the other side of district, Kenwood, Henry County, Northwest versus Dixon County. Montgomery Central is as a TBA right now. I haven't gotten their matchup. And Clarksville Academy actually just had their season end last night. A 6-1 loss against Davidson Academy, but they had themselves a heck of a run. Farthest they've ever made it since moving to D2A. So excellent job by Clarksville Academy. They halved their deficit or margin of defeat to Davidson Academy. They had 2 losses by 10 runs last time they played, only 5 runs this time. So that's definitely a program that, like I said with Rossview, is kind of on the up and up. They only lose 1 senior, Satara Warren, a player who was kind of more of a off the bench player for them. So a lot of fun things to see for Clarksville Academy softball moving forward. Now looking at soccer, we have Northwest versus Dixon County and Henry County versus Kenwood. On the other side of the district, Clarksville High versus the winner of Northeast and Springfield. And that's going to be a thrilling game, by the way. That whole district is crazy. And then Rossview versus West Creek. That district is probably the most unpredictable I've ever seen in soccer. So I absolutely am just absolutely jacked to see how that plays out. We also have Clarksville Academy versus Battleground Academy once they get going. Clarksville Academy 3-12 this year after really just reviving that program kind of from the ashes. So kind of a cool story there. We'll see how they can do against BGA. And then kind of a wild card, track and field. They're doing that sub-regional at Green Hill, seeing who can get to regionals and possibly get themselves to state. So a lot of exciting stuff going on right now. Of course, weather is going to be a major factor, as we talked about with Coach Hetland. So we'll see how things get moved around. But until next time, we'll see how that plays out, and we'll talk about all the results next week on Main Street Preps Clarksville. I've been your host, Brady McAtamney. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll talk to you guys again soon.